Good morning. It is great to have the team back together. When we send our top producers to a convention, sales slow down. But how many people that went away sold something while they were gone? Did you? I figured you would. And closing too. Got to pay for your gambling habit. Good. All right. We got a third. Meg is not going to be on today. Okay. Well, anyway, as always, thank you for support of Paramount Title. They're doing a really good job, and that's great. Do we want to introduce Jerry from Florida Best Quote in her place?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Top quote. I just had that conversation with you. So Top Quote Insurance is a statewide insurance company. They got every carrier you can imagine. And they rented space from us in our office, and Jerry's a full-time employee and commissioned salesperson. So if you need top quotes, that's who you're going to call.
So most of you have a rep that you use with Top Quote. If you don't, make sure that you do reach out to them. What we're doing is we're trying to get somebody in each of our offices or each of our areas so that you have a designated person in your area. Because I know Hillsborough side has people in Pinellas. Pinellas is working with people in Pensacola. Pensacola's working with people in Orlando. Just trying to help you out, get you a good resource that you can have front and face and center. So we'll be sending out his information later today. So Brian's going to get us some contact cards and everything. We'll make sure everybody has all of the contacts. So if you need a great insurance rep, we have one right there for you.
And that's the key. You know, we always talked about captive versus open insurance policies. Captives only sell their policies. So they don't have the depth or the breadth to do something customized. So with all these companies you really have a much better policy. More quotes and more coverage. Cool.
I'm just waiting for it to load up.
Give us an enlightened perspective, Mr. Reed.
So today's enlightened perspective, life doesn't come with a remote control. You've got to get up and change it yourself.
True, right?
I know a lot of you, like we talk a lot about energy, intention, focus, mindset. We talk a lot about the law of attraction and everything, but all of those things, no matter what you believe in, it still requires you to get up and do the work. You can believe, you can focus, you can put all the energy you want into something, but until you actually get off your butt and go do the work, you're not going to get those results. So you can wish, you can hope, you can sit there and push whatever button you want, but nothing's going to change until you decide and you do it yourself.
You could put the address of the GPS, but don't put the car in gear. It's not going to go anywhere. All right. We're going to do a broker briefing. Let's talk about our top producers for the last month. This is going to play automatically, right? There we go. So most listings in the month of March. Look at this in just a second. Kevin Friel put 7 listings on the books. So what's coming up for Kevin? 7 closings. That's awesome. And these are the rest of our top producers from every region in the company. And you guys will have individual certificates too. Most sales, Susie Wick-Zigman, 6 sales in a month. Most agents don't do that in a year. Diane Krikorian, 5.5 new contracts. That's a lot of work. Right. And everybody else, look at all these happy faces. Everybody's out producing in the markets. And then we're going to go into most closings. Holy cow. How does Robin Bennett do 9 closings in a month? She doesn't sleep. 9 closings. If you see her, get out of her way because she's on the way to a closing.
She had so many, we put her on there twice.
And most commissions for the month would be Andy Simmons, rounding out everybody company-wide. And then Jackie Pope, Bob Dean, Robin Bennett, Jesse, all the names you see in the hot sheet all the time. So maybe take them to lunch or rub their belly or something, and maybe we'll rub off. Congratulations to all of our top award winners. All right, what was the cool takeaways from 121? Chris and Jimmy, you guys want to jump in on this?
So I'm always just astounded by the amount of people that attend the event and the amount of top producers that you see there. When you saw the Centurion Parade, it was pretty amazing. It was literally nonstop. All people doing $270,000 or more. last year. It was a nonstop parade from the back of the room, down the aisle, all the way to the front of the room, across the stage, and it didn't stop for like 30 minutes. It was just consistent. It was really cool to see.
And it's special too because it's global.
Yeah, so we saw a
people
lot
in
of
their native
international.
garb, and they got their flags flying for their foreign countries. It's really makes you feel like you're part of something bigger.
One of the top selling units, selling agents by units. It was Danya Perry was most commissions. Most number of units was a girl from C21 Mexico, and I can't remember what the units was, but it was unreal the amount of units it was. And then the other thing was, I get the specialty of being able to hear and listen to Jimmy and all the people that he's talking to, and he was a part of all of the events where they're trying to court new brokerages and new brokerages that are so interested in the brand that they said, yes, I will go with you before I sign up to your global convention and spend time with you guys and see what you guys are all about. There was 130 companies that attended that were interested in the C21 brand.
Prospective franchisees.
And prospective franchisees that wanted to join. Just that showed up there. There's way more than that are looking to join the brand. So it's just, I said this yesterday in a meeting, it's just crazy. When you look around, everybody says that, oh, the old brokerage models are dying, old brokerage models are dying. Well, they may be, but we're not an old brokerage model. We are continually growing, and there are more people joining the Century 21 brand than any of the other brands. It is unreal when you see the growth that Century 21 has had. It's unbelievable.
And there's a slide come up to give you a reason. But
yeah, so just to kind of hit on that too, like I thought, like, you know, Century 21 is a big name. There's a lot of awards. We were talking about that yesterday too. Like awards, we can make them up, but there's some great awards that Century 21 gets. But when I think of Century 21, I think the power of the brand is actually the people, right? So there's all these people that are willing to, and I'm not going to say how many closed, but a lot of them decided that they want to sign in, and where they see the value in the people that are there, you know, the network that you have, the questions you can ask. Like, it's just amazing the power of the people that are actually, you know, in the brand. And then the other kind of takeaway that I noticed, it was a lot of talk around AI, and you know, and I think we're ahead of the game in a lot of ways as a brokerage. So you guys are in a great spot. And the thing around that though is it's just very important to understand that this is going to be big. You have to not necessarily integrate all of it, but you got to understand it if you want to succeed in real estate in the future. So, and that's a proven that had all these different agents and brokers all speaking, you know, around how they're integrating AI into their business.
And it's not stopping.
You get tired of hearing, like I've heard so much over the last couple of years, AI isn't going to replace agents. It's going to replace agents who don't use AI. I'm just tired of hearing that. And I loved in the class Mike Puma did, he goes, AI doesn't replace people, AI replaces tasks. It makes your tasks that much easier. And I think that's a much cleaner way and much easier perspective to understand. If you can find a way to automate tasks and automate the things that you can do in your business so that you can work on your business rather than in it, because AI is the piece that's working in it. It's never going to replace people, but it can replace a lot of your tasks to allow you to grow your business. And I think that's really what we've been able to maximize with the Empower AI platform and everything that we've been getting engaged with.
They said something like 82% of consumers are already using AI in their real estate life.
Yep. Okay.
So, and I did this exercise where there was only like 40% of the agents raised their hand and said, yes, I'm using it. So your consumers are ahead of you right now. But I think the other thing I like what Mike talked about too, and Angie talked about it yesterday also,
the prompting
is, well, I mean, it's the prompting and things like that, but AI is going to make your consumers want that connection even more. All right. So it's not taking away the connection and your personality and all those things. Your consumers are going to want that more because now they can go somewhere and get almost all the answers. They need it. They want it.
Yeah, I go to ChatGPT and look up insurance right now for my home, but I still want to talk to an insurance agent and say, what the hell does this mean?
Well, remember, there's always more than one truth that's available when you're looking for data. And when you ask ChatGPT a question, it's going to give you the truth based on the question that you asked. If you ask it where we talked about is what was the one example that he gave? It's like, is this happening, and is it going to be bad for, or am I overpaying for this? So, well, based on the data, it looks like you are overpaying. And then a seller in the same situation asks, am I taking too little money? And they said, based on the data, it looks like you're taking a little, and you probably could get more. So the same scenario asked from two different perspectives gave it two different truths. So that's really what the prompts are really what you need to get zeroed in on to be able to get the most most realistic data, and you have to understand what your consumers are doing. Your consumers are getting answers based on the questions that they ask. And if
Not
they asked
necessarily
different
a real truth.
questions and prompted it differently, they would get different answers that might be more aligned with what we are trying to deliver. So we need to make sure we understand that perspective coming into it.
I think the next slide is that one.
So, and
Jimmy,
kind of
okay.
on the 121 side, and I think tying into the brand and how powerful it is, we're going to talk about a few other things, but I did want to call this out, and I'll share this. You're going to see some emails come through, and you're going to see a whole brand kit. Things are going to be added to Canva for this, but hopefully everybody remembers the Joy of Home from last year, which was an award-winning campaign that Century 21 did. Now they're calling it Joy of Home Chapter 2, kind of like the evolution of where it is. And again, I'll send out some stuff too, but you will see some communication from Century 21 when these are actually available. And so I put a little just through the video in here.
It's pretty good.
It's the color of sunflowers in the garden, pat of butter on a stack of pancakes, and the coat of fresh paint in the nursery. It's the color of celebration, of tiny rain boots, and of morning's first light. It's the color of happiness. And if you want a real estate agent dedicated to putting your happiness first and foremost, look for it on the sign out front. Century 21, dedicated to the joy of home.
So, right. So when you get this, share it, but they're going to also give you the option in Canva to brand it with your brokerage logo and stuff too. So I'll get some of that stuff out to you as it comes through. There's a 30-second video, there's a 60-second commercial, and then there's a whole bunch of graphics and things that they will be launching in the future. So again, just use the power of the brand, the name, all that good stuff to people that you know, and keep them, which ties us kind of into the next, I think.
Well, I think it does too. So it makes me mad sometimes when people leave our company because they don't know what they're really leaving. They're leaving protections because we don't cheat on technology. We don't cheat on security. We don't cheat on things like that, like your Gmail accounts. Most companies don't provide Gmail, but they're exposing their company to liability and their agents to liability if they're using their Yahoo accounts. It just makes no sense to me. And agents leave us and go away. And look at this, came out from Mike Wheeler yesterday. Many of you seen the National Association of Realtors' recent announcement regarding a settlement in the Chicori Homebuyer Commission litigation. That news
What is it? What's happening? I haven't been paying attention.
more lawsuits about commissions coming after brokerages for not paying attention to the new rules. That news has prompted questions about what it means for Century 21's network and importantly, what that means to you and your agents. Approximately 7 weeks ago, Anywhere, our previous parent company, reached a settlement on the buy-side claims in the Chicori case and then received preliminary court approval. Our settlement includes a release for agents and franchisees affiliated with Anywhere. So what happens when this lawsuit goes to Align Right Realty? They're going to get a lawsuit.
EXP just got named in it.
EXP is going to be named. They don't have the protections that we have in place. And I think we need to know that Century 21 Anywhere specifically is got our back. And I just want you to know that. So these are all things that are important when you're deciding where you're going to hang your license.
Mm-hmm.
We can skip the rest of it now. I went to ChatGPT and said, tell me about the Compass and Anywhere merger. Just to give you some stats. Compass and Anywhere closed 2026, January. It's one of the most consequential shifts in the U.S. residential real estate in decades. It doesn't just create a bigger company. It changes how inventory, agents, commissions, and consumers access may evolve. The combined company is the largest residential brokerage in the world with 340,000 agents across the globe, estimated 18 to 20% of U.S. home sales volume.
And that's estimated. The real number that they're saying is closer to 22 to 30% when you look at volume, when you look at units, when you look at compensation. When you look at all those together, it's closer to 22 to 30% of all transactions done.
Yeah. And that one company now touches about 1 in 5 home sale transactions far larger than any competitor. And that impact means massive leverage over agents, listings, and technology, which Jackie was giving me a report on the convention, said the technology suite that's coming down the road for you guys is amazing. And the ability to shape industry standards, not just compete with them, because we're a global leader, right? Let me cover this one.
Yeah, the consolidation trend is accelerating. What do they mean consolidation? You're seeing a lot of other mergers. Like we saw a ton of people that were from smaller brokerages, mom and pop brokerages, and other larger brand brokerages that were wanting to join with Century 21. They were at convention. So that consolidation between brokerages, because there's a ton of value. When you have that much data, that much leverage, that much money behind you to be able to pay for, develop, and grow technology, AI, systems, processes, and tools, there's a lot of people that are going to want to join with you. And then there's going to be some that don't because they prefer to have a grip on it on their own side. But my opinion is they're going to miss out. So it's a bigger shift. Real estate has been fragmented for decades. If you look back in the 70s, there was so many different companies. Not a lot of large brands, a couple, but so many different companies. Small brand here, small brand there. But everything is kind of consolidating a lot more. It's moving towards fewer, larger, vertically integrated platforms, and Compass being the largest one, Compass and Anywhere being the largest one that you are a part of. And that was really nice to see and hear. Robert Refkin came on stage and he talked about his perspective of what he thought the brokerage meant. And when you listen to him speak in person, it is a lot different than seeing him speak on some of the other avenues that you probably saw. So he has a really humanized perspective of the brand, and he's really fighting for the agents and the consumer. He feels like the consumer is better served by the agent being front and center because they're the best person to talk to about any listing, about any property that you have, not somebody from another company that just paid for a lead. So he really does have the agent and consumer in mind with everything that he's doing, and it was just nice to hear.
I listened to him once. He talked about how Zillow offered him $1.6 billion to put all of their Compass listings on Zillow. And he said, no, I want my agents to have their own leads, not your agents getting my agents listing leads.
Yep.
Turned down $1.6 billion.
Yeah, that was the whole perspective. And because of that, the control over listings is the biggest piece. So I've been saying it from the beginning. I think this is a big data play. When you get with the top two, it was Compass and Anywhere were the largest real estate brokerages that are out there. And when they combine together, that's a huge play for data. The amount of data that you can get from the agents, from the consumers, from the buyers, from the sellers, from everybody that you have, it really gives them a big piece. And their whole push is on data, technology, and AI. So this is really going to be a strategic move that could shape and change the direction of real estate for quite a while. And it could give the agents a lot of power back that they've lost because of the shifts and changes that have happened where the real estate lead business is a multi-billion-dollar business that anybody can get into just by getting somebody's name, phone number, and email and trying to sell it to you, saying that it's a good lead. So there's a big play here is that listings battleground, and they're trying to really capture back all of the listings and make sure the agent is front and center. Because again, you're the best person to talk to about any listing that's out there. The listing agent is the best person to talk to about it. You know more about it than anybody. You listen to some of these people on on the Zillow when they get it. Hey, I was calling about 123 Any Street. Well, let me look it up. Hold on, I'm not at my computer right now. You call a listing agent. Yes, what would you like to know? I'm happy to tell you. When would you like to see the property? This is the data. This is what I got. Here's the price. Here we go. Blah, blah. And they're able to get you there quicker.
I like that last one. Buyers may have access to agents earlier in the process because right now they don't need you. They go to Zillow wherever they go, where they can see the house, see the price, see the information, see whatever they want. Tax records, all that stuff. But if we have less transparency, they're going to need agents earlier in the access.
Potentially less transparency for buyers. I think it's less transparent now. If you call somebody who's paying for leads and gets that phone call, how transparent is that person about the property or the listing? How much do they know? How much data can they get? How much info can they get? If you call the listing agent, you have full transparency of all of the data and all of the information, all of the property disclosures, everything that seller knows, that agent knows. So you get a lot more transparency. You can get right direct to the source. It just doesn't make sense to me, some of the push and direction that people are going, but.
We can go past this. We've got the concept, I think.
Yep. So I thought this was really interesting. Zillow, of all people, did a survey the minute that the Compass merger was discussed with Anywhere, and Zillow went to Anywhere agents, and of the agents, they grabbed a small portion of them. It wasn't a large portion, but they said that a meaningful percentage of Anywhere agents considered leaving post-merger.
That did not happen.
And so that didn't happen. The company Anywhere actually grew right after that and continued to grow. So some of the data that they were pulling have said something like 23% said that it would impact their business. They would consider leaving. 50% had an overall negative viewpoint of it, yet none of that translated into post-merger moves, declines, changes that actually translated to more growth. So it didn't make sense to me. And I think that's where I say there's always two truths available. You can look for data and you can make the data say whatever you want. They could have easily went to the top producing agents in Century 21, Anywhere, Coldwell Banker, and they probably would have got a completely different perspective, but they went at it from a different perspective. And that's okay.
And what that means is aggressive agent recruiting wars. So be prepared. Incentives for top producers, pressure on mid-tier agents. Because the bigger agents are growing, they're doing bigger share of the deals. And so you could expect elite agent consolidation at top firms and more churn across brokerages as people are leaving to go to get more support and technology.
And we've already seen that, especially over this last 2 years where we've had two of the worst real estate years as far as transaction number, transaction volume, two of the worst years since 2008. We've already seen a shift of agents needing more direction, wanting more data, wanting more leadership, going to larger brands, bigger companies
And
that are
doing
able
more
to.
transactions too.
Yep. And it gives
As
them
you
that
just saw.
opportunity to do more.
9 closings in a month.
Yep.
That's a lot of business for one agent.
They talked a lot about their end-to-end platform that they're building out, that Compass is building out, that's going to take the CRM, the search function, AI, communication, transaction, putting it all together, connecting everything in one place. So they did show us a little bit of the integration of that. So that was really cool and really neat to see. And those are all things that are coming down the pike. And you're already seeing that all the antitrust issues, they're not going away just because you're still going to have these concerns. Now, there is also, from a consumer perspective, there is another concern. When you take somebody and give them 1 out of every 5 transactions or 1 out of every 4.5 transactions, that you have that concern over, is there a monopoly? Is there anything going on in that perspective? Can they have a larger impact on compensation and commission and drive commission up? Well, I mean, if we're valuable and we provide that value and more people are selecting us, doesn't that mean that we are worth more?
Yep.
If we do more transactions, we can do the same amount of transactions that we have, but if we become more valuable because of everything that we're able to provide and we command a higher cost or higher value and higher commissions, we become more valuable inherently. So I don't see any issue with that. When you provide more value, you get compensated in direct proportion to the value that you provide.
I have no problem telling you guys, charge 3% to a buyer, charge 3% to a seller. It's our policy because we deserve it.
Yep. Bottom line,
There you go.
what changes? If you're a buyer, you may see less open inventory. Okay, yeah, that's BS. Let's just face it. If you search anything, it'll come up.
Right.
Go to ChatGPT. If I look for homes in Panther Trace, homes in Orlando, homes that match this, it'll find them. So it's not open inventory.
It'll find them on Redfin because that's where they're going to
It'll
go.
find it wherever it is. It doesn't matter who has it listed. Maybe you may not be able to go to one site and see every single thing, but if I search for anything, I'll find it. That's the internet's job. That's ChatGPT's job. Find what I asked it for. It's going to find it. So it's not going to be less open inventory. It's all going to be accessible to you. That's the whole perspective. Relationships with agents become more important from a buyer perspective. We already saw that from 2024. That already became a huge piece in 24 with the buyer agency
And it
changes.
shows in the surveys that one of us last week. You guys are amazing. The surveys are fantastic, the reviews you get.
If you're a seller, you get more options, right? Different brokerages, different people provide you more options, but possibly less exposure depending on strategy.
That's why we're recommending not open listings.
And if a buyer is searching and it's on MLS, MLS has IDX feeds that go everywhere. If the seller chooses to not put it in all those places, they're actionably choosing to not expose it to the most amount of people. That was their decision. So it's not a negative for them. They have a choice. I want to do this instead. Maybe it saves me money by not paying this. Maybe it gets me more money by going this way. But they're all choices that buyers and sellers are going to have. And when we provide that value, because we are the most trusted brand in real estate, we'll make sure that they know exactly what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Stellar is going to
Sellers,
be.
yeah, that's how they develop history.
And if you're an agent or broker, what does it mean? It just means that scale matters more than ever. Pressure to align with larger platforms or differentiate hard. Just obviously you have more agents, more money, more ability to be able to expose to
More
greater
listings,
crowds,
sign
more
calls,
listings.
buyer leads.
Correct. So there's different alignments that'll happen there. And all of that means and changes because people are going to move no matter what.
And we're so lucky because we're in a blue state, which means net growth. And I shared that with you last week too. $20 billion in income came to Florida last year. The second biggest state was Texas with 5.5 billion. So that's all jobs that came to Florida. They're spending money, and what are they doing? Renting apartments or buying houses.
Renting or buying. And now, I mean, I know we see, like, I don't care what the political beliefs are and what people say, but you can see a video on everything. Somebody's talking about New York and California. We're not losing people. We're not gaining people. Look, the stats are simple in that. So New York lost, net growth was down 30%. California was down 25%. Why?
Why? Taxes?
Taxes, less affordability. Why was Florida only positive 7%? Because our affordability was impacted over this last 5 years. We were the 20, 30, 40, 50%, similar to Texas and some of the other states. But our affordability has been impacted because of the migration of people here. But they're still coming. We still have a positive net migration of 7% coming to the state of Florida. And they're moving from the areas where there is less affordability because of prices, because of taxes, because of all of those things that impact their ability to live a normal life.
Which are the things you guys should be talking about on your social media, not just pretty pictures of kitties, right? Talk about the affordability, talk about tax savings, talk about portability, talk about those type of things.
Because this clearly shows that it is impacting buyers.
And the public doesn't know, so you might as well educate them.
Mm-hmm. This week, we have our Friday training classes back on after our hiatus to Vegas last week. So this week on Friday is going to be the bulletproof buyer process. You guys, if you would like to join, Mr. Jimmy McNally and I will be here on Friday doing the bulletproof buyer process from 10 to 12. Everybody is invited. It's primarily geared towards some of the newer agents joining the company, but if you need a refresh, please sign up for that, especially with all the changes coming with Moxie, with presentations, with everything that we have. So please join us on Fridays. The next few after that will be the buyer process, Moxie Works, Master the Contract, and then the Seller's 201, which is how to price like an appraiser and how do you service your listing moving forward once you get one on the market.
Yes. And there's a reason we have a prescriptive formula that we teach, right? Because we want you guys to get the results that you need. A lot of agents that don't have systems to follow don't get listings every time they go on a presentation. So the more you follow a system, the more likely you are to get the transaction, make the sale. And of course, we summarize all the trainings we do. Angelique sends out every day, every Monday. So Real Life Real Estate's always fun. Broker Briefings, Wisdom Wednesdays, usually Chris. Tactical Thursday, Jimmy and Mike talking about their AI platforms. And then we finished up the addendums A through GG last week. So I'll get new contracts theories out this Friday. Mr. McNally. Say it again.
Zillow showcase of the week.
So write down Matt's number if you have any problems with your showcase listings. He's a help there.
Yeah, email or just call support.
Yeah. And here's the showcase of the week, Mr. John Evans.
What? Hey, John, we need a new headshot. That's from like.
Yeah, your beard doesn't show up on this photo. That's your high school picture, isn't it? You can go to AI and say, put a beard on me. There you go. All right. 912 page views, 36 saves and 16 shares. Good moves.
And that was actually, I think, at the end of last week. So if you go to the next page, you can see where he's at as of this morning.
1,232 page views.
432% higher.
Jesus. So are you sharing that with your seller? Good. That's the key. So you guys know about those. You get the best discounts.
Were automatically sent for me. I didn't see that one.
We'll talk about scalability. We talk about scaling transactions. Why do you guys get to buy showcase listings at $125? Because of the company. The company signed a contract to buy so many, which got us a discounted price. Other agents are paying $400 for a showcase listing because the broker can't afford to do it.
And other people have to commit to, based on the number of listings that they've taken over a period, they have to commit to a certain amount at $400, $600, or $800 a piece. And if they use them, that's great. If they don't use them, they lose them.
Yeah, big advantages. Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I do have some challenges with the online showing that it's that good, but the showings don't follow. I don't think that's a challenge. I think that is the greatest blessing that you could have given me. Look, buyers buy with emotion and justify with logic. They saw the pretty pictures, the beautiful ad, the showcase that I put to them. More people looked at it than I could ever hope for. And not a single one wanted to come and look at it in person. It's either your price, location, home, or your motivation. Whatever the case is, I think that's the greatest gift we can get because I'm exposing it to everybody I possibly can, more than anybody else, because of our showcase, because of homes.com, because of whatever else I'm using. Look how many people saw it. Look at what the public said. Look at what the agent's reaction is, which is why a weekly update is really valuable. And we are trying to get that to correlate over to in-person showings. And the price, the home, the positioning of it has not done that. Which one can we change? The positioning isn't it, because we've literally positioned it to the best of our ability. The location, I can't change. What's the only thing left to change? Price and motivation. Are you motivated to sell your property, Mr. Seller? Because if you're motivated, I'm telling you, I'm exposing it to the most amount of people. And if we're exposing it to the most amount of people, we should probably address the price. And if we address the price with that many people seeing it, they should get through the door. And if they don't, then we have another issue, price or motivation. Again, we just need to keep
Plus,
addressing it
showcase,
that way.
when you lower the price, what's still going to do? Retarget it to the people.
Yep.
We talk about it all the time, like prior to all the ads and Zillow Showcase and stuff. But if we have a property on the market, we're not getting any showings. We're gonna. I mean, you got to look at days on market, what's happening, and stuff like that too. I mean, every micro market's a little bit different, but typically, if nobody is coming to see the house, we're off.
There's
We're
something
off
wrong.
probably a little bit more. Now, if we got people seeing the house.
You want to prove it,
and
lower the
they're
price
just
by
not
100
writing
grand.
offers,
It'll
the
sell.
buyers are just rejecting. But if we don't have any showings, it's the buyers and the real estate agents are rejecting the price, basically.
Counters. It says client portals, client views, client favorites. And then it says agent views, agent rejected, agent published. That's somebody who has their listings set up on an auto search, but it's concierge mode where they get the listing first and they either reject it because I'm not sending that to my client because it doesn't match them, it doesn't fit them, the price isn't good, location isn't good, or they publish it to them because they think it was a good fit. And then we also have views where they're just seeing it. So you can see the public and the professional side of it and see who's rejecting it, who's accepting it, and how we are either getting the traffic or we're not getting them through the door.
Maybe you can show that tomorrow. But I'm familiar with that.
And just a reminder, please go call Showcase Support or shoot an email over to
Not Jimmy.
Showcase Support. Well, I usually just push everybody to that anyways because they can handle it much faster than I can. So, Megan's University update. So I want to start off first of all by talking about virtual staging. So I know not everybody on this call has Stellar MLS, but Stellar MLS has some specific requirements around virtual staging.
No watermark on the photos.
We are not allowed to have any watermarks on any of the photos because in Stellar MLS, they actually watermark it as virtually staged for us. Okay. So what is happening is we have some of our agents and it's not just our tool. Okay. A lot of the virtual staging tools throw virtually staged in the corner, and you cannot have that unless you want to get fined $100
Just
per
pay the fine.
photo
We catch it.
that's like that. Okay. So, now some of you may be like, oh crap, I have so, and please, everybody else for all the MLSs, please pay attention because
It's probably coming.
I'm going to talk. It's very relevant for you too. But for Stellar specifically, if you're like, I have virtually staged photos, this is not good. I recommend as a listing agent to go look at your virtually staged photos to make sure it doesn't say that. Now, what we have done is Sam has taken time to go through every listing that has virtual staging in Stellar MLS and just cropped out the that portion of it
Wow.
so you don't have to. Okay, so but my recommendation, just like I say,
Double check.
validate everywhere. Just go validate and then shoot listings or photos a quick email saying, hey, this one hasn't been done yet. So if you have anything that's waiting to go online, you've done it, just be prepared that they're going to catch that. They are making the adjustments, but please pay attention. Now, this is going to tie me into our staging tool that we have because we automatically put the virtual staging watermark on the top right. Okay. Since the majority of our company is on Stellar MLS, you can go to the next page if you want. In the staging tool, when you go and add your photo on the very, very, very bottom after you choose the room, the furniture density, all that kind of stuff, there's a toggle on the bottom that is going to be default to off. So anybody in Stellar MLS, you don't have to do anything going forward for the virtual staging photos. It's automatically going to take that. It's not going to put that in there. For everybody else on this call, if you're in Miami, if you're up in Pensacola, if you're in a different MLS, you will have to make sure you go down and toggle it on so it automatically puts that virtual staging watermark on for you. It literally is, it takes less than half a second to click the little toggle and have it go on. So that's kind of like the tip. I talked about it last Thursday, but please just validate if you have any of those listings in Stellar MLS. Going forward, anybody else, you need to make sure that you turn the toggle on so it gives you the watermark. And then the last little trick I'll give you, just since we're talking about the stage at tools, after you have created your image, and let's say it's not exactly how you want it, if you scroll down just a little bit on the bottom, you can see it here on the video, you can go in and say, hey, remove this, change that. You can actually make tweaks to the stage photo that's already been done, so you don't have to start all over with the property. So sometimes I've seen where they put a
Take the table out.
picture where a window was supposed to be. Hey, move that and put the picture back in there, and it will update that for you and get it taken care of. So that's it for this week.
And just your reminder, to get into the path to Centurion, it's $161,000 or 33 closings as we amp up the agent population in business. So that being said, happy Tuesday, everybody.